Listen to this, 69% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings accounts. And if you're hearing that number and thinking, yeah, that's basically me, then I want you to stay with me. I'm going to be going over exactly how I would go from $0 to $10,000 as quick as possible. And this will be by creating systems and using some strategies that I've personally used myself. But first, before getting to work on your goal, write it down. Let's talk about a statistic. People who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve those goals than compared to people who only thought about their goals. In psychology, this is known as something called goal setting theory, and basically goals that are specifically written are much more likely to be accomplished compared to very vague goals. When you have it written down, it's outlined, and at some extent you've committed to that goal. When you don't have it written down, you're more likely to negotiate with yourself and to change your goal frequently. And when you frequently are changing your goal, it makes it more challenging to reach those goals. You ultimately end up wandering aimlessly, never committing to anything, and not having any progress. So put human psychology and research on your side and write your goals down. Be specific and keep it in a place where you can see it frequently. I'm going to share with you one of my goals that I have set for myself so you can see an example of a specifically written goal. And I have it placed in a spot that I see frequently. In fact, it's in my bathroom on my mirror. So I start my morning off by seeing my goal. It helps me start my day off on the right path. So I'll share that goal with you. My goal is I want to post a video to YouTube every single Saturday for a year. I want to reach 1,000 subscribers within a year. Now that's my clearly defined goal, and it's actionable steps on how I plan to reach that goal. So if you want to help me reach my personal goal this year, hit that subscribe button, of course, only for research purposes, and my source would fall under the Trust Me Bro category. I do want to make one thing very clear though, I'm not claiming to be a goal-setting wizard by any means, but I have set many goals for myself that I have accomplished, and I have a good track record for meeting the goals that I set for myself. Most of those goals take place in either academics or in sports. Now let's get into the goal of this video, which is going to be going from $0 to $10,000 as quick as possible. Now we're going to go over the first technique, and this one focuses on the money that you're already making. As soon as you get paid, you're going to take a portion of that money and pay into another account. If you have a 401k, you know when you get paid, that money gets taken and automatically allocated towards that fund. You never even see it. When you get your paycheck, you don't even really think about your 401k, and often you're not checking it. But that money's automatically being invested, and you need to take that same idea of paying yourself before you pay for anything else, treat it as a bill. That's the lesson for this, is treat savings as a bill. This method of paying into your savings as if it was a bill shows you how truly powerful your income can be. Your income is your only tool you have to build wealth, and when you use it responsibly, you will build wealth. Now, if you're in the category of people who don't have the income to save that amount of money and you have an income problem rather than a spending problem, let's focus on some areas of where you can make money so that you can save quickly. The first strategy is my personal favorite because once you set it up, it essentially pays you on autopilot. It doesn't require any effort from you after you set it up, and it consistently pays you money every single month. I've talked about house hacking in previous videos, and house hacking is when you rent out certain areas of your home that you're living in, whether that be bedrooms or a guest house, to offset your cost of living every month. You could do this regardless if you own or if you rent. It's the same system either way. You're just renting out different portions of your home to people every month who pay you and offset your cost of living. However, if you are renting, you do need to check with your landlord and make sure that they're okay with what you're doing. Make sure that they allow subleasing on the contract. After that, you're off to the races. Either rent out the bedrooms out, rent out a guest house out, whatever it is that you have available, rent that space out, and that money will automatically be income to offset your cost of living. Now, if you want to allocate that towards investing to reach your $10,000 per month, then that's great. The next strategy is going to be flipping items on either Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. And please let me know in the comments, does anybody actually use Craigslist anymore? I'm almost convinced it's a ghost town now. Stick to flipping things that you know in markets that you already have knowledge in. For example, I know somebody who flips video games. They purchase games for Game Boy, Wii, GameCube, whatever it is, the system that they're knowledgeable in, and they go to garage sales, they go on Facebook Marketplace and find people who are selling in bulk, and they purchase those and then single them out and sell them individually on eBay, and they end up making a lot of money because they know the value of certain things. Another side hustle that I've actually personally taken part in would be flipping cars. Now, you got to be really careful when doing this, and if you're not mechanically inclined, maybe this isn't the right one for you because you don't want to get burned. But if you do have a basic mechanical knowledge, you're good at negotiating, and you're willing to put in the work, this can be a side hustle that can make you hundreds to even thousands of dollars. For this side hustle, what you want to do is look for sellers that don't really care. They have poorly taken photos, maybe the car looks dirty and it's not marketed well, and you want to negotiate for the best possible deal. Maybe the listing's been on the market for a while. Go and meet with them, get the best deal possible, and now this is where you shine. You put in the work of getting the car very clean. You want to detail the car. If there's any sort of small repairs that you can make, replace the windshield wipers if they're squeaking or if they're broken, and get the car looking nice and take really nice photos. The photos is super important because that's what people see. Then go on Kelley Blue Book, get a good idea of what the vehicle is worth, and make the most amount of money that you can on the deal. Basically, what you're doing is the legwork that the seller didn't want to do. They didn't want to clean the car up. They didn't want to take great pictures of the car. They didn't really care about the sale as much as you do. And that's why you're going to make more money than they did off of the sale. The next area isn't going to be based on a specific technique or strategy, but instead focusing on what you already are good at. If you happen to know photography or car detailing, or you're talented in a sport, or you're really good at school, whatever that skill is that you're already talented in, that's going to be something that you can monetize. For example, when I was younger, my dad would hire wrestlers who were talented to do one-on-one coaching sessions with me, and they would make sometimes $50 an hour, which is a lot of money to a middle schooler or a high schooler. Another example that I have with this would be my sister-in-law. She's a super talented photographer, and people are willing to pay her to take family photos, baby photos, whatever the photos that they're trying to take. She can make money off of that because she has a specific skill, and she can offer a service that is valuable to other people. This is a great one because you can actually end up building a business off of it. You're building a client portfolio. For example, if you're detailing cars and you do a really good job, you're going to get repeat buyers. If you're really talented at taking photographs, or if you're not, you can learn a new skill and then monetize it. Now this one, if you're going to take anything from this video, let it be this: keep it frugal. When people think, oh, I just need to make more money, that's not always the right thought process. Sometimes you don't have an income problem, you have a spending problem. And so keeping things frugal can help you save money, invest money, and ultimately declutter your mind. I personally love the idea of living frugally. I almost treat it as a game. I try to see how low I can keep my cost of living and how much money I can make, and to keep my cost of living as low as possible and try to get my income as high as possible. When you treat it that way, it ends up making it less of a sacrifice and more of an enjoyable process. I'm new to this content creator stuff on YouTube, but if you stay with me for long, you'll learn that I like to use analogies to describe things. And my analogy that I have for this is you basically have a flowing stream of water and a bucket. And the flowing stream of water is your income, and your bucket is the money that you're trying to catch into your savings account. The bucket has all kinds of holes on the side of it, and water's pouring out, and it's almost impossible to keep your bucket full. You can do two things. You can spend your energy trying to patch up the holes on the side so you can keep as much water in your bucket as possible, or you could do the inverse and start poking holes in the side. But when you do that, your bucket's it's going to empty quicker, and you're never going to have water, and you're always going to be thirsty. And that's why I find it enjoyable trying to patch up the sides of my bucket, try to keep as much water in my bucket as possible. Starting small is super important with this process because you don't want to burn yourself out and try going completely frugal all at once. Maybe you start little strategies at a time. Maybe you start off drinking coffee at home, or when you do go out to a restaurant, start ordering your meal with a water instead. And then you can slowly transition into purchasing more affordable clothing. Maybe you even decrease your wardrobe and purchase all of the clothes that can go together. You know, plain t-shirts like this, plain t-shirts go with a lot more things than buying t-shirts that have different designs on them. So that's a strategy I've been utilizing to decrease my spending because all of my clothes can all go together. I'm just going to touch on this because this could be a whole video in and of itself, but this brings us back to the human psychology aspect of things, and it's known as the cognitive load theory. And basically, less stuff equals more mental bandwidth. To explain this simply, think of your brain like your phone. When you have all kinds of apps open on your phone sometimes gets laggy and slow. It's focused on too many things, it has too many distractions, and for that reason, it's not able to focus on one thing very well. Your brain does the same thing. When you're thinking about too many decisions or you're overwhelmed with tasks, you're not able to see things as clearly as you would if you were focused on one thing. That's why it's important to declutter. When you declutter things, you can simplify your life and increase your mental bandwidth so you can focus on your goals and making meaningful progress on things rather than being focused on all kinds of distractions that take away from your life. And this brings us into our next strategy to get you to $10,000 of savings from $0. Half of Americans have reported feeling overburdened by having too many items. An American household has 42 items in the house that aren't being used at all. So this goes back to the Facebook Marketplace Craigslist category. You can take these items, find out what they're worth, list them, sell as much as you can, invest the money that you get from that, and this does two things. It declutters your life and helps increase your savings. Now you're able to have more mental bandwidth to focus on your goals and to provide clarity into your life, and you're investing more money into reaching your goal of having $10,000. Breaking your goals down into smaller chunks is known as the small wins theory. Each win compiles and you teach your brain that you're able to accomplish the goals that you set for yourself. So instead of setting the goal of, I want to go from $0 to $10,000 in a year, break that goal down and say, I want to save $192 per week. Then each week that you do accomplish that goal of saving that amount, you're activating the small wins theory, and over time you teach your brain that you are able to accomplish the goals that you set for yourself. Now I want you to hear from me, regardless of where you are on your goal from $0 to $10,000, I want you to know that you can achieve this goal. You're the kind of person that looks up a video and gathers information on how best to achieve it. That's something a lot of people don't do. Most people don't achieve anything, and you're not that kind of person. You're the kind of person that watches the video to the end and focuses on what they can do in their control to increase their odds of achieving that goal. Now, if you found this video interesting, click this video here because you may find that one interesting as well.